Hello everyone and welcome to the third lecture of Java Basic Programming. Today we will talk about data types in Java. Friends, there are two basic categories of data types in Java. The first one, as you can see, is called non-primitive, and the second one is primitive. Let us first define what is meant by primitive. The word primitive actually means things from an ancient times. So here the primitive type means that those data types which come under the category of primitive basically existed from very beginning of the programming. And the non-primitive means that these data types are rather new data types. They are customary data types and they are added later into the programming languages. Therefore, the non-primitive and the primitive names are given to the categories of these data types. So let us first define what is meant by primitive data types. On the screen you can see that there are further two categories of primitive data type, numeric and non-numeric. The most common type of data types in a programming language are that of numerics. Under the numeric data type we have further two categories, integer data types and float data types. In the integer data types we store those values, those numbers which are integers, and in the floating point category we store those values which have a floating point, which have a decimal point. Further, inside the integer category we have further four categories: byte, short, int and long. And under the float category we have two categories, float and double. And under the non-numeric data type we have two categories, which are character and boolean. So let us define all of them one by one, what is meant by all of these categories. Under the integer category we have byte. Byte takes only 1 byte of space in memory, and by memory we means in RAM, in primary memory. The second is short. Short data type takes 2 bytes of memory in space, and the integer data type takes 4 bytes in memory, whereas the long data types takes 8 bytes of memory in RAM. Coming towards the floating point data type, the float data type takes 4 bytes in memory, while the double data type takes 8 bytes in memory. Whereas the non-numeric data types, that is character and boolean, the character data type takes only 2 bytes, and the boolean data type, which can store only a true or a false value, it takes a single bit in memory. It takes either 0 or 1. For false it stores 0, and for true it stores 1. So essentially it takes only a single bit of memory. Coming towards the non-primitive data types. Under the non-primitive data types we have 3 further data types, which is class, array and interface. The non-primitive data types are initialized with the keyword new in Java. Whenever we create an object of the class, we create it with the new keyword. Whenever we create an instance of array, we create it with the new keyword, and similarly it is true for interface. Whereas in the case of the primitive data type, we do not initialize it with the new keyword. We rather use it right away. Like for example, we can initialize an integer data type by simply writing int and space its variable name, and we can assign directly a value to it, or we can take the value on runtime. So this was all about the data types in Java. I hope today's lecture was pretty short and simple, and you would have learned about data types in Java. If you have any doubts about any data type in Java, please comment it down below. I will try to answer it. And until the next lecture, take a very good care of yourself. Thank you so much for watching, and Allah Hafiz.